Hello everyone, my name is Drupal and welcome back to another video. Today I'm showing you guys how to set up and install custom clothing into your guys' FiveM server in 2026. So first things first, click the first link down in the description below. That's going to bring you guys right here to the emergency uniform pack. This isn't what you actually have to install if you want to install custom clothing, but this is one of the options and it's probably one of the easiest options, especially for an RP server. So if you want to install this, you can follow along installing this, or there is a bunch of other custom FiveM clothing that you can find on the internet. For example, I found this one. I'll leave it down in the description below as well, which is a FiveM clothing pack. And this installs the exact same way. All custom clothing for FiveM, as long as it is FiveM ready, will install the exact same way that I'm showing you in the video right now. But there is one step that we need to do that is crucial for every single one of you guys in order for FiveM clothing to actually work. So if you're installing an emergency uniform pack, click the link down in the description below. If you're installing something else, go to the thing that you're installing and follow along. So once you're on the emergency uniforms pack, what you guys are going to want to do is scroll on down on this post until you guys get to the EUP menu download. Click download here and it'll take you to a mega link. And then just make sure you download the zip. And you guys can see, you go, immediately it's downloaded. I'm just going to open this on up in my downloads folder. Here it is. We'll have that ready. And then go back, just press back to go back to the same post. Scroll on down and look for the EUP server-sided download. Give that one a click. It's going to take you again to a mega. Do the exact same thing. Download it. This one is a little bit bigger. This is close to 1 gigabyte, so it will take longer to install. So give it a bit of time, and then we should be good to go. There we go. Now that one's finished downloading. You can see we have EUP menu, EUP SUP. However, before we go ahead and install this, there's a couple more things we need to do. So minimize again, go back to the same post, and you will see that it requires something called a native UI in order for the menu to work. If you don't do that, then it isn't going to work because native UI is a dependency of the EUP menu in order for you to actually be able to spawn the clothes. So to get native UI, hit the next link down in the description below. If you guys are installing a different clothing pack, you can just skip this bit. You don't need the native UI because you'll be using a different menu to spawn in the clothing. However, if you are following along using the emergency uniforms pack, click the next link down in the description below. Come to this page and very simply click the top one under assets. Click source code and it will download you the latest version of native UI to install into your FiveM server. And again, that will show in our downloads. So let's go ahead and install it now. What you guys are going to want to do is minimize to your FiveM server. My FiveM server is right here on HTN Panel. And you guys want to go to your resources folder. So I'll just show you here. I can go to our resources folder. You're going to want to go into your server data folder, go into resources. And then what you guys are going to want to do is I'd recommend right clicking and creating a new folder. Call this folder bracket EUP and closing brackets and press enter. Inside of here is where we're going to put all of our EUP clothing. Again, if you guys are following along using a different clothing mod, I'd recommend making a folder and calling it brackets clothing closing brackets just so you can organize your FiveM server installs. From here, let's bring back up our downloads folder once more. And what you guys are going to want to do is give your downloads folder a refresh. We're going to want to install our EUP menu and our EUP SUP into this folder we just made. If you guys are installing a different mod, obviously just drag and drop that clothing mod folder into here as well. So open up your mod zip. And what you guys are going to want to look for is, as always, look for the folder which contains a resource.lua or an fxmanifest.lua. And that is how you know that the folder that those are contained in is the one we need to put into our FiveM server. So grab it and drag and drop it in. Then the next steps for installing it is we're going to go close this zip on down. And now we'll install EUP SUP, which is the actual clothing files. That's just the menu. So open on the folder. And again, look for the one that contains a resource.lua or an fxmanifest.lua or a stream folder in some cases, but every single FiveM folder will include one of these. And then drag and drop that folder that contains them on in to that same folder we just made. Again, this is going to take longer because this contains all of the clothing files. And boom, that is the main bit of EUP installed. So we can close that on down. And now for EUP, again, like I mentioned earlier, we need to install a dependency, which is native UI. So open that download on up, go inside the download folder again. Once more, we're going to look for the one which contains a resource or fxmanifest.lua, which is this folder right here, native UI. Go back to the resources folder on your FiveM server And you guys can see I already have a folder called dependencies. If you do not have one, I'd recommend making one. So you can put any dependencies your FiveM server requires into here and make sure that it always starts first. So you can see in here, I've got Rage UI, but I do not have native UI. So I'm going to use my existing dependencies folder to put my native UI into here. If you do not have one, just make one. So right click, make a new folder, call it brackets dependencies, close brackets, should be good to go. Then we're going to grab our native UI folder and drag and drop it into here. And then we are done. If you guys are installing a different clothing pack, all you guys basically should have needed to do is go on over to your resources folder, make a new folder called clothing, drag and drop the zip which contains the FX manifest or resource.lua into it, and you should be good to go. Now the next steps is we're going to need to go into our server.cfg, and we're going to need to install these folders we just made, and we're also going to need to do one extra step, which will mean EUP will indeed work, or custom clothing will work, because right now, out of the box, it isn't going to work until we change this one setting. So what you guys want to do is go to your server.cfg. So for you guys, it'll be in your server data folder right there, open it on up, but I'm going to use HTN Panel. So I'm just going to go to my file manager, and we're going to locate our server.cfg. Once you're in your server.cfg, what you guys are going to want to do is we're going to want to add a couple new lines. So you can see I already, because it already existed, have a dependencies folder, and it is ensured right at the top, just after all the basic FiveM dependencies. You need to do that same thing. If you've made a dependencies folder, make sure it is started just below all of the default ensures of your FiveM server. And then we can go ahead, press enter for a new line and type ensure. And then we'll ensure those folders we just made. So for me, the only folder I'm going to need to ensure was the EUP folder. So copy the name and paste it on in. And now that EUP folder will be ensured, and anything inside of it will automatically start every time we start our server. Just before we click save, what you guys are now going to want to do is look for where your server defines how many slots you have. So right here for me, it's at the bottom in your server.cfg. Look for the line that is SV_max clients. Now, if you guys want to have custom close streaming on your FiveM server, you will need to pay. You will need to buy FiveM's Argentum subscription, which you can buy from the cfx.re portal. It's a monthly sub. It's going to cost you about £200 a year. It's like $20 a month or something like that. You need to buy that, and it will automatically link to the key that your server is set up on, and it will unlock the feature of clothed streaming. You do not need to pay for EUP. You need to pay for the feature EUP requires, which is closed streaming, and FiveM locked that behind a paywall. However, there is a way to get it for free. That is by limiting your max clients to 10. So we can just press delete on the 32 or however many slots your server is set to by default and type 10. And now we should have access, an early access feature to closed streaming for free. However, if you do go over that max client slot of 10, it will be gone. You have to leave it at 10. There is no way around it. Don't go and try and buy dodgy keys. They don't work. You're going to have to buy the subscription if you need more than 10 slots. And then make sure you save your changes. And we should now be good to join our FiveM server and see our brand new clothing. So I'll boot my FiveM server on up. We'll give it a start. We should see everything that we've just installed will load on up. And we'll load into the server, and I'll show you guys that the custom mods that we just added are indeed in-game. Okay, so here you go. We've loaded in-game. If you guys are using EUP, all you guys are going to want to do is press T, type /EUP, and you should now be able to access the EUP menu. Ignore the spinning. For some reason, that's something they have. You can disable that in the configs. Touch your mouse and it'll stop spinning. But if you go through here, we should now be able to use all of this custom clothing. So let's go for the USAF military police. We'll spawn one in, and you should see it is indeed working. If we didn't limit those slots, or if you didn't buy the subscription, this is not going to work. But you should now be able to go through and pretty much everything will work, like the Male National Guard and the police will work too. Everything is indeed working. So there you guys go. EUP custom clothing is now installed into your FiveM server for free if you didn't pay for the subscription. And just like that, you guys have gone ahead and installed custom clothing into your guys' FiveM server for free in 2026. I hope you guys did find this video useful. If you did, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. If you guys are wondering what I was using in this video to manage my FiveM server, that is HTN Panel, and you can find it down in the description below. I'll see all of you guys in the next one.